Welcome to the Daily Stoic Dose. Before starting this video, make sure please subscribe, like and share this video to reach out most authentic Stoic content. Need your support, thanks. Most men chase what they can see, but women respond to what they feel, and what they feel is rarely spoken aloud. Let's be brutally honest, every woman decides, within the first few minutes of meeting a man, whether intimacy will ever be an option. It doesn't happen consciously. It's instinct. And once that instinct fires, everything after that moment becomes a test, not of your looks, not of your money, but of your emotional energy. She doesn't want a performer, she wants presence. She wants to feel safe enough to choose you without feeling she's being chased into it. This script is for men who've stopped begging for attention, for men who've realized the loudest move isn't always the smartest one, for the few who understand that attraction isn't built with effort, it's built with control. Stay until the end, brother. Because what I'm about to unfold are 8 unspoken truths, small, quiet behaviors that make a woman's mind relax and her guard dissolve without you saying a word. By the time you understand the last one, you'll see why most men fail at intimacy before it even begins. 1. The calm invitation, power without pressure. A man who truly understands women doesn't try to convince her. He simply makes an offer, calm, clear, and without attachment. You see, the average man tries to sell himself, he throws compliments, talks too much, tries to prove he's different. But that energy screams desperation. It tells her, I need you to choose me, or I lose my worth. A masculine man never does that, he gives her a choice, and freedom inside that choice, something like, I've really enjoyed this. If you'd like to continue over a drink at my place, I'd love that. If not, no problem at all. Then he shuts his mouth. He holds steady eye contact for a heartbeat, then looks away and takes a sip of his drink. No begging. No convincing. Just presence. What happens next is fascinating. Her nervous system relaxes. Because she senses safety in his detachment, he isn't trying to control her decision, and that calm, detached tone becomes the very reason she feels drawn to him. Women fall for the man who gives them freedom, not the one who cages them with flattery. The truth is, power and attraction doesn't come from chasing, it comes from being perfectly okay either way. That's the silent dominance she can feel before a single kiss. 2. The signal of discretion, the unspoken security code. Women test for discretion more than most men realize. They want to know, if I open myself to this man, will he protect what happens between us? Because in her mind, intimacy isn't just physical. It's exposure, her reputation, her emotions, her self-image, all hang in that space, and she's scanning you for signals that say, I'm safe here. That's why the wise man plants the seed early. He says something small but powerful, maybe in passing, I don't talk about my personal life in group chats. That's not my style. Then he lives it. Later, when his phone buzzes and he flips it face down, she notices. When he avoids name-dropping his past or gossiping about others, she feels it. Those quiet actions say everything her words never will. In her mind, he becomes the kind of man who guards what's private, not for strategy, but for principle, and that principle earns trust faster than any sweet talk ever could, because deep down, she knows, a man who protects his own privacy will protect hers too. That's the man she imagines next to her in silence, not the one who brags. Not the one who screenshotted her texts, but the one whose calm makes her breathe easier. 3. Social awareness, the test of emotional maturity. Watch what happens when a woman is surrounded by her friends. Her guard shifts. She's watching how you handle the social field, because this is where your instincts reveal themselves. The immature man sees her friends as obstacles, he gets quiet, awkward, or tries too hard to impress them. The grounded man sees them as extensions of her comfort zone. He respects the tribe, he greets each one calmly, learns a name or two, makes a small joke, and then steps back, giving her time to rejoin them before returning. That's what most men never understand. Attraction isn't about pulling her away from her tribe, it's about being accepted by it. When her friend's eyes soften, when one gives that tiny approving nod, she feels something shift. Because women take emotional cues from each other, when her friends approve, her body relaxes around you. In that moment, you've passed a silent test, you've shown you can exist confidently in her world, without needing to dominate it. that's the essence of masculine control, power that doesn't need to shout, comfort that doesn't need permission. 4. The endgame of the evening, the subtle art of direction. Late nights test more than chemistry, they test how you handle uncertainty. When it's late, decisions blur. That's when a woman looks to you, subconsciously, to lead without pressure, and this is where weak men crumble. They either freeze, waiting for her to decide, or they push too hard and lose everything. The Stoic man does something else, he plans ahead. He checks the time, then says calmly, "We've got about 10 minutes till closing. You want to walk, grab a cab, or I can drive you." That's it, no suggestion. No persuasion. Just options, structured and safe. What she feels isn't manipulation, it's direction. He's leading the moment without taking control of her choices, and that makes her feel safe and desired. When she says, "Let's walk," he naturally adjusts his pace to match hers. He walks street side, unconsciously shielding her from passing cars. She doesn't say anything, but inside, her instincts register it. He plans. He protects. He doesn't push. That's the kind of man women crave, not the one who wants something from them, but the one whose energy already knows what to do. 5. The unspoken comfort of space, home that feels like presence. Here's something women rarely admit: a man's living space reveals his mind, not the furniture. Not the brand of the couch, but the energy it carries, the quiet order, the sense that everything has purpose. When she walks into a place that's calm, clean, and prepared, her body immediately feels it. The sheets are fresh. The lamp glows softly. There's cold water in the fridge. A spare charger on the nightstand, maybe soft music in the background. No performance. No showmanship, just presence, because the truth is, your environment mirrors your internal state. If your space feels grounded, she knows you are too. The weak man cleans his room to impress her, the strong man keeps it clean because he respects himself, and that energy is magnetic. So when you say something simple like, "You cool with this lighting?" and click the dimmer one notch down, you're not asking for approval, you're signaling calm awareness. She sees the folded throw on the couch, the tidy sink, the quiet hum of your space, and something unspoken happens inside her. Her nervous system relaxes before she's even made a decision, because she senses what every woman seeks: a man whose world feels safe, steady, and intentional. That's not decoration. That's discipline, and it's more attractive than any line you'll ever say. 6. The non-judgment setting, the invisible invitation. Every woman carries invisible armor, layers built from rejection, judgment, and a world that loves to shame her for wanting connection. So when she's with a man, even one she's drawn to, there's always a question humming under her skin. Will he see me differently if I say yes? Or will he punish me if I say no? That's why the strongest move you can ever make isn't seduction, it's neutrality. It's saying calmly, "Whatever happens tonight, I'm good with it. I just enjoy being here with you." And meaning it, no smirk. No hidden expectation. Just steady calm. You lean back, let silence breathe. You let her speak first, you don't chase validation through her decision, because you already own yours. That's when her body changes, her jaw unclenches. Her shoulders drop, the air around her softens because she senses, this man isn't performing, he's present. Understand this truth, brother: women are not drawn to approval. They're drawn to acceptance without agenda. When she realizes you won't label her choice as good or bad, she feels liberated. That's when desire becomes natural, not negotiated. You cannot fake that calm, it comes from within, from being a man who doesn't need outcomes to validate his masculinity, because once you no longer need her yes, that's when she starts wanting to give it. 7. Reading the silent language, the art of attunement. Now we step into a rarer skill, emotional awareness without words. You see, attraction isn't built through talking, it's built through noticing. The way she shifts her body closer, the way her voice drops half an octave, the way her eyes linger on your mouth and then dart away. That's not random. That's a conversation, just not verbal. Most men miss it because they're too focused on themselves, they're trapped in their own anxiety, wondering what to do next. But a Stoic man watches her rhythm, he pays attention to distance. If she steps closer and stays there for 30 seconds, he doesn't jump in, he just matches her space. If she pulls back slightly, he respects it without flinching. He might say something small, calm, human, "Tell me if you want slower." That single line does something powerful. It tells her you're tuned in, and when a woman feels seen without being analyzed, she relaxes deeper. That's how connection grows, not from words, but from mirroring, attunement, and stillness. Most men think masculinity is about being bold, but real masculine energy is about precision. It's about knowing when to move, and when to hold the frame, because when you hold still, yet fully see her, she feels something she can't explain, presence. And that, brother, is the rarest aphrodisiac on earth. 8. The exit with grace, the test of real power. Here's what separates boys from men, how they handle the end of the night. The immature man either clings or disappears, he confuses detachment with coldness, but a true man ends the night with warmth and steadiness. If it's time to part ways, he doesn't guilt or chase, he simply says, "I'm heading out. Text me when you're safe." Simple. Confident. Clean. She feels his calm even in goodbye, because he isn't trying to manipulate how she sees him. That moment, the one most men rush through, is when her subconscious decides whether she wants to see him again, and if intimacy does happen, he carries the same composure into the morning. No awkwardness. No expectation, just quiet care, maybe a glass of water by her side, coffee brewing in the background. And a calm question, "You want a quiet morning or a ride soon?" That moment, that tone, tells her everything about who he is, because what women remember most isn't what you did during, it's how they felt before and after. They remember the energy. Was it calm, safe, steady, or was it needy, erratic, and rushed? That's the silent report card she never fills out loud, but every man is graded by it, and that's why the masculine frame isn't just about strength. It's about emotional consistency, being the same before, during, and after the moment. Because while weak men chase the experience, strong men define it, the unspoken truth. She tests what she can't name. Understand this, women don't consciously test you to be cruel, they test because they need to feel safe with what they can't see. She doesn't say, "I need to know if he's emotionally grounded." She simply feels your nervous system and responds. When you're anxious, she feels unsafe. When you're calm, she relaxes. That's how deep this runs. Her body reacts before her mind has time to reason, so when she pulls away, when she teases, when she goes quiet, she's not always rejecting you, she's scanning for stability. Can you hold your center when energy shifts? Can you stay calm when silence enters the room? Because that's what every woman ultimately wants, not a man who dominates, but a man who doesn't disappear, and that strength, that grounded stillness, is what turns comfort into desire, the masculine constant. Presence over performance. There's something magnetic about a man who moves slowly, not because he's lazy, but because he's unrushed. He knows that anything real doesn't require hurry, every gesture, every word, carries intention. Not because he's trying to be impressive, but because he's present in his body. When he listens, he actually listens. When he speaks, his tone stays low and measured. When he touches, he does it with awareness, never as a move, always as a message. That presence is what women crave but rarely find, because most men operate from fear. They speak too soon. They touch too soon. They confess too soon. They rush because they fear losing the moment, not realizing that fear kills the moment. A grounded man, on the other hand, knows that the energy between two people has its own pace, and when you honor that pace, attraction deepens naturally. The paradox is this: the slower you move, the faster she feels safe enough to open, because stillness is seductive, calmness is magnetic. And silence, when held with strength, is louder than any compliment. The internal frame, where masculinity truly lives, you can't fake emotional stillness, you can only become it. That means no line, no technique, no trick can replace the work you do when no one's watching, the daily discipline of controlling your breath, your focus, your emotions. Because every woman can feel the difference between a man who acts calm and a man who is calm. The former is pretending, the latter is dangerous, in the most beautiful way. When your energy is unshakable, she feels her own chaos dissolve around you. You don't absorb her storm, you anchor it. That's when attraction transcends the physical. That's when her body trusts you before her mind does, because masculinity, at its core, is stability under emotion, it's silence that doesn't break, it's eyes that don't flinch when tested, and that's why the world can't fake it, you either embody it or you don't. Why the calm man always wins. Most men think confidence means being loud, assertive, or dominant, but real confidence is the absence of need. When you no longer need to prove your worth, your energy changes, your presence becomes weight, and women can feel that weight in the smallest gestures, the way you pause before speaking, the way you listen instead of interrupting, the way your silence makes her heart beat louder. That's power, not the kind that seeks control, but the kind that already has it, because the truth is, a woman doesn't fall for words, she falls for emotional certainty, and that certainty isn't built through talk, it's built through calm, consistent, grounded behavior, the kind that says, I know who I am, with or without you. That's the man every woman respects, that's the energy she remembers long after she leaves, the morning mirror, how she sees you after, when a woman wakes up next to you, she isn't thinking about what happened the night before. She's watching who you are now. Is the man in the morning the same man from the night? Because the immature man changes, he becomes nervous, overly talkative, or suddenly distant, he either clings or withdraws. Both destroy the illusion of strength, but the grounded man, he's the same, calm, clear, unrushed, he moves through the morning with quiet purpose, pours water, maybe coffee, without seeking validation, he doesn't stare, doesn't explain, doesn't dramatize. He simply exists in his own rhythm. That steadiness tells her what words never could, you were never acting, and that realization, that your presence was real, makes her trust her own choice, because nothing makes a woman feel safer than realizing she didn't misread you. When she senses that your energy is exactly as it was before, unshaken, still grounded, something anchors in her, she starts to associate your calm with home, and that, brother, is the foundation of long-term desire. The detachment that attracts again. Most men kill attraction by seeking reassurance after intimacy. They crave confirmation, a text, affection, a promise of something more. But the Stoic man knows that the moment you chase reassurance, you lose the polarity that built the desire in the first place, so he lets space breathe, not out of arrogance, out of respect for energy. He knows that tension is sacred, too much comfort too soon suffocates it. He might send a simple message later. Something authentic. Brief, unforced, good seeing you. Hope your day's smooth. No overthinking. No hidden motive, because attraction, at its deepest level, is maintained by mystery within stability. You don't vanish like a ghost, but you also don't hover, you exist in your own world, and that world must remain interesting, structured, and full without her. She needs to sense that your life doesn't pause when she's gone. That's what keeps her curiosity alive. It's the paradox of masculine detachment. The less you try to keep her, the more her mind returns to you, the emotional aftercare, calm power and warmth. Now, there's a misconception among men that stoicism means coldness. It doesn't. True stoicism is emotional discipline, not emotional absence. After intimacy, a grounded man doesn't detach into indifference, he simply stays calm while showing subtle warmth. He might hand her water. Ask softly, you okay? And mean it, no drama. No expectation, he listens. He stays present, he doesn't talk about the night as if it's a score to remember, he treats it as something that simply was. That emotional control creates a sense of stability that few men ever project. Because what women crave most after connection isn't talk, it's peace, the peace that says, you're safe here, and I don't need anything from you. That peace is more intimate than touch, it's what makes her body soften against you, what makes her heart beat slow beside yours. It's not what you do. It's who you are. When she pulls away, the discipline of stillness, here's where most men collapse. When the energy changes, maybe she gets distant, maybe she stops texting as much, maybe she withdraws into silence, and the average man panics. He interprets the shift as rejection, as proof something went wrong. But women pull away for many reasons. Sometimes to test. Sometimes to regulate, sometimes just to feel if your steadiness was real. The Stoic man doesn't chase the silence, he holds it, he stays consistent, he continues his rhythm, his training, his work, his focus. He knows that chasing would only confirm her fears, that his calm was performance, not truth, so he does the hardest thing a man can do, he waits in quiet strength. That stillness speaks louder than words. It says, "I'm not going anywhere, but I don't need to prove it either." And that, paradoxically, draws her back. Because what she really wants to feel isn't pursuit, it's reassurance that your energy is steady even without her attention, the polarity that keeps desire alive. Long-term attraction is not built through constant contact, it's built through tension, the dance between closeness and space. When a man understands polarity, he stops over-investing emotionally in every moment, he gives warmth when it's earned. He offers silence when it's needed, he becomes a force she can't predict, yet always trust. That's why masculine energy should never seek balance through words, it maintains it through presence and distance. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is not reply immediately. Let energy breathe, let curiosity bloom, because when she feels both safety and uncertainty around you, her mind stays engaged. That's how attraction evolves into addiction, not through games, but through psychological depth, and that's something only the emotionally disciplined can sustain. The Stoic reality: desire isn't owned, it's invited. Here's a truth most men will never accept: you can't make a woman want you. You can only create an environment where her natural desire feels safe to surface, and that environment is built on three things: safety, freedom, presence. Safety allows her to relax, freedom allows her to choose, presence allows her to feel your energy without words. Everything else, compliments, confidence, even looks, are secondary, because once she feels safe, free, and seen, her body does the rest. That's not manipulation. That's nature. Masculinity doesn't chase desire, it hosts it. You become the container, the calm center where her emotions can exist without judgment. That's what makes her open, what makes her stay, what makes her trust the silence between you. Why stillness is the final move. There's a point every man must reach if he wants to be respected by women and by himself: the understanding that silence is strength. Women don't crave men who need them, they crave men who remind them of peace within chaos. So stop trying to convince, stop trying to win, stop trying to impress. Instead, build yourself into the kind of man who radiates control under pressure, calm in emotion, strength in silence. Because once you master that, the rest happens on its own. You won't have to talk your way into connection, your energy will do it for you. And when she's with you, she won't even understand why she feels so safe, she'll just know she does. That's the highest form of masculine influence: to create calm without command, attraction without effort, and connection without need. So carry yourself like a man who's already chosen peace over validation. Because the world, and the women in it, will feel the difference instantly. If this message spoke to you, brother, remember, calm isn't weakness, it's control, and in a world that moves too fast, your stillness will always be your advantage. Subscribe, stay grounded, and keep walking in quiet strength. Until next time, stay stoic.